Welcome along everyone to another rugby discussion, and as promised earlier on, we are here to discuss some of these early squads for the year of the Rugby World Cup. First up, of course, we already had New Zealand a few days ago. Now it's here for the Trans-Tasman rivals. The Australian Wallabies have announced their squad, and I am joined by my resident Australian expert, the Scottish Cannon. Thank you for joining me. Welcome along and hello.
Hello, it's sort of funny that I'm the Scottish Cannon, yet I'm your Australian expert.
Yeah, well, you live there, so that's my excuse for that. That means I have to get you on for Scotland as well, when they've got their squad. Ah, that's cool.
Yes, I think they already have, actually.
Yeah,
so.
I think they have, yeah. So while we're here doing this for the Australian squad, I'll just give a bit of a shout out for a bit of an idea I've got going on at the moment. If anyone is out there with a good knowledge on their country, or a country that they're very knowledgeable on their World Cup squad, that wants to have a chat about the squad and who's in, the controversies and the expected stuff, all that, let me know. Get in touch with me. Leave me something in the comments or leave me a tweet on Twitter. If you've got the equipment and things, have a chat and we'll go over some more rugby squads from some hopefully little or known nations and things like that. But that's the thought for you all to go out with. But here today we are having a look at the Australian squad for, well, this is a 40-man squad for the first two tests against South Africa and Argentina. Now, there's been a lot of changes from this preliminary sort of squad that they put out before the semi-finals of the Super Rugby, but the first point that I'm interested in here is who's your captain. They don't know whether they want to pick Moore or Hooper. Who would you go for?
Moore.
You go for Moore?
Yeah, because I don't know how many caps off the top of my head that he's been captain, but he's just so experienced, and it's just unfortunate that he did his knee last year. But I think obviously Michael Hooper's going to make a great Australian captain in the future, but Steve Moore, big stage, Rugby World Cup, makes complete sense in my opinion.
So you've seen the squad, you've been looking at it already. Overall, just like in an overall kind of sense, what is your thoughts on the squad, just as a group?
I'm really happy with it. I think Michael Checker's chosen very well. I think the notable omissions he's made are pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them. We'll talk about it a bit further on. But it's going to be great. I think the Matt Giddo and Drew Mitchell inclusions will be absolutely huge, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a bit further on. But my first impressions were looking good. But what's your opinion from across the ditch?
Yeah, good and bad. I think I agree with you. They've made some good decisions about players they've left out as well, which is for an Australian perspective is pretty good. But over here, it's okay. It's a lot of unprovenness about it as well, which we'll see how that goes in the Rugby Championship before we can really gauge an interest, especially with those overseas players coming into the squad as well, which will lead us nicely into who is in and who is out. Of course, coming in they have Matt Giddo, Drew Mitchell. They have picked up Naya Varro as well, a newcomer they've stolen, you could say, from Fiji. Karevi, Dennis, Dean Mumm from Exeter, now coming back to the Waratahs, so he's back straight to the Wallabies team, which that one did surprise me a little bit. Horwell's there, Rory Arnold and Toby Smith. So there's 4 debutant players in there. What are your opinion on those newcomers to the squad?
I'm happy with most of them. I'm happy with Naivia Varro. I'm happy with Karevi. I think he's had great form for the Reds this year. I'm not follow Rory Arnold enough to make an opinion on him. And Toby Smith, he's a bit of a New Zealander, so we're stealing him a bit, aren't we?
Yeah, Toby Smith was at that level of just about All Black, but not quite All Black before he left to go over and play in Australia. So I think, given what the stocks of Australian front rowers are like, I think he's going to fit in quite well. He's proven himself in the Super Rugby to be a pretty reliable and pretty dependable kind of front rower. So I think he's a good pick coming from this side of the ditch as well. The rest of them, I'm not sure about Dean Mumm. I don't. What do you think specifically about him? Have you seen him play at all, or what he used to be like?
He used to be a star back when he played for Waratahs in 2011, 12, 13, I think. Or maybe just 12.
Is he worth picking straight back into the team, though, without playing?
Very, very, very debatable. So he didn't get a start for the Waratahs. I think he came back with a couple of rounds left in the regular season, he went and met the Waratahs over in South Africa about a month ago. So, you know, he's come off the bench a couple of times, so he's done well in that respect. But rushed him straight in questionable decision. But at the same time, we really need second rowers. We haven't got decent second rows. We're probably the weakest side of the maybe top 6 who have bad second rowers, and that's just coming from myself. So, you know, I think it's obviously good just to expand our horizons and see what he can do.
Yeah, it's worth a shot. I noticed from the whole overall squad, quite a lot of players who can play in the second row have been picked up as well, which is that could be possibly, like you say, that they're a bit weak there and they want to get an overall scope onto you know, how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players that can play in the second row. Do you think they'll definitely cut that down when it comes to World Cup time?
Yeah, I think maybe cut a couple. I think they'll have some versatile players like probably Higginbotham in there and Fardy, but I think they might cut Dave Dennis. Unfortunately, they might cut Dean Mum as well. But we've got to wait and see. I'm not Michael Checker.
I think they're going to use this Rugby Championship quite a lot for seeing how those players, especially players like Mum and Mitchell and Giteau, will fit in. The players that have been left out, now a couple of these surprised me. Ben Robinson and Ben Alexander both been left out from the squad, which is, that one kind of does surprise me. Along with that, O'Connor's gone, Cummins is gone, the cult hero of Australian rugby is out, along with Carmichael Hunt as well. Do those you approve of those deselections, if you will?
Well, just break it down. Don't give me 7 at once.
Go through them from the start.
Robinson, Ben Alexander, I was surprised by both of them. Both very experienced veterans for the Brumbies, Waratahs, and Australia themselves. But I'm surprised Michael Checker didn't choose Dean Mum after coaching him all year. You know, it might be something just behind closed doors. Maybe they will be picked for the World Cup side. But you know, I'm really surprised, honestly. We have got some great front row talent coming through. It's just whether we can exploit it. Maybe experience is better at this sort of time, but you know, we just got to wait and see. So obviously, Carmichael Hunt being omitted, you know, 100% the right decision. I don't know if you heard over there, but there's been a lot of controversy around him at the moment and drugs at the moment. So. You know, he's come out and talked about drugs in the AFL and stuff. So he needs to stay out. He's bad image for rugby, and if it's something wrong in the water with NRL and AFL, it shouldn't come over to rugby. So I think we should be using him as a role model for rugby, as well as his form for the Reds has been pretty disgusting, in my opinion.
He was pretty average,
Yeah, James O'Connor, I think this is the big one that has been omitted. Michael Checker actually had specific stuff to say. He said that he's not fit enough, and that he's just not doing what Michael Checker expects him to do. He's going to be playing in the National Rugby Championship for the first few rounds, and hopefully try and get selection for the squad. But he needs to get really fit, because even in the training squad, he wasn't completing all the trainings because he was unfit. So. Yeah, you know, that's obviously that. Who's the other players that I'm missing?
Nick Cummins is the other one that's being chopped.
Nick Cummins, I think he's just an unfortunate member of the force who got destroyed this year. You know, but we've got so many great wingers, though, for Australia. Rob Horn, Naiva Avoro, Spate, Tamani. You know, it's just those people ahead of him, you know? I mean, you can even put Kieran Drani in there as well. So I think it's the right decision in that opinion. And of course, Drew Mitchell.
Yep, Drew Mitchell's in the squad. And Adam Ashley Cooper, of course. You missed him out as well.
Yeah, of course. But he's, I like him more outside, to be honest. But, you know.
Can't see him getting any time there. But maybe. We'll see.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Other things. Who do you consider to be lucky to get into this squad overall?
D Mum.
Any others?
Very interesting. Maybe Talia Faulkner. I don't really know too much about him. Maybe a bit of Dave Dennis as well.
Not a fan. What about Nick White?
I mean, we just need those backup scrum halves. I mean, Nick Phipps can't just do it by himself. Ugenius had bad form. I mean, Giteau can cover the halves as well.
Yep, he does. He has played 9 quite often as well. Yep.
So, I mean, that's all interesting. You know, we've got 4 scrum halves, so maybe we didn't need Nick White, but honestly, I don't think he'll get a start anyway.
Yeah, well, what do you think about how many fly halves you've picked as well? They've
got what, Foley?
They got Tamua, Foley, Cooper, Leleafano, and Giteau. Of course, they all play 12 as well, some of them, but overall they can all play 10.
I mean, I'm happy. I mean, who else would you put in there, though? I mean, I think we've chosen the best 5 playmakers in Australia. I'm not really sure who Wallaby 10 will be. I'm sure Checker will probably go Foley, but he'll need to fix his form if he's got, going to lead Australia to wins over Argentina and South Africa.
I can't imagine that they're going to take all 5 of those to the World Cup. I can see 2 of those will definitely have to go. Do you think that's true?
Oh, well, you also have Giteau as well. So
yeah, he's in there.
Honestly, I think Giteau might be 10.
You think he'll start the first test?
Possibly, because his form for Toulon's been really good. Even though he hasn't played in a while and the combinations might be lacking. Giteau will only get better with more experience with the squad. It's the first time he's been back in the Wallabies squad for ages. So, we're just going to wait and see how we go. I think they'll probably cut down a couple, but I can't really see who they're going to cut down because they're all big names, Tamura, Leafano, Cooper, Foley. There's a lot of talent there.
It's going to be hard to cut this squad if they keep this squad down to the 31 required as well. It's going to be some more controversial cuts from the team. So, given this team, who do you consider has been unlucky not to make it in? Is there anyone that you thought prior to this that you thought should be a shoo-in to this squad that hasn't made it?
Not off the top of my head, in my opinion. Maybe George Smith. Even though he's playing in Japan, he's played over 100 caps or something for the Wallabies. I might be wrong on that. I'm normally normally good with my statistics, but not exact, so that might be slightly wrong. But
he's played a lot.
Yeah, he's a very, very experienced veteran.
Yeah, so otherwise than that, it's pretty much as expected before this was announced for you.
Yeah, well, obviously Ben Robinson, Ben Alexander as well.
Apart from those 2, yeah. So who's going to be the key players from the squad for you? Who's going to be the ones that they'll rely on?
The flankers, Hooper and Pocock. I've got a question for you before I go into that. Do you think, who do you think the 2 flankers will be? Do you think they'll go the Pocock-Fade combination or do you think it'll be Hooper? What do you think?
Well, that's a pretty good question too. I like the fact of having 2 sevens. So go Hooper and Pocock. I think that would work quite well because they're quite different players in their own right, but very, they're both out and out sevens, but, Pocock is very physical and strong player, whereas Hooper's very fast, very athletic, and they complement each other very well. If they'd miss the blindside type of player, I would imagine so much if you've got someone like Fadi or something who could come off the bench into 6, but I'd quite like to see that. Hooper and Pocock, well, from a New Zealand perspective, I'd quite like not to see that, as to me that's quite a good combination. With have Higginbotham at 8, I think that would be a good combo for the back row for Australia.
Yeah, it would be I would see also, I'll probably see Hooper go on the Ket 6 and Pocock at 7.
Yep.
I think Pocock, he would win us so much turnovers and so much ball. I think he's going to be very important to stay fit and hopefully, he hasn't been in the Wallaby squad for a few years as well because of his injuries. So, I can't wait to see Pocock in green and gold again.
Yep, it's been a while indeed, that's for sure. So, who is your up-and-comer from the squad? Who do you think, come the end of this international season, post-World Cup, when Australia haven't made it out of their pool, who's going to be the player that you're going to say, wow, that guy's really stood up for the Wallabies, he's become, a true superstar that next season we're going to really depend on?
Very difficult question. Very difficult question. I would like to see Karevi maybe get a bit of experience. I'd also like to see maybe a bit more on Kuranjani and a bit more on Will Skelton. I think those 3 players, because they're so young, could be leaders within the Wallaby squad in 10 years. I mean, what's your perspective on that? What do you think?
Oh well, you could go anywhere. I think someone like Naivoro is probably going to be pretty big if he can find a place in that on the wing somewhere there for the team. I think he's the lengths that they seem to have gone to pick him up prove that he's going to be pretty good. Karevi, I agree with you on Karevi. He's a pretty strong player as well. He's been pretty good for a pretty average red side. And really, you have to go with form when you look at the rest. You know, I think Higginbotham's still going to be huge for Australia, even though he has been in the past. His form this season has just been out of this world. He's going to be massive. And then, of course, Israel Folau. He's already a star, but I can see he's just probably going to be put up in lights a bit more this year as well. It's a big year, re-sign, no problems for him. He'll probably be right up there as well.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Yeah, just a question, just an explanation on Naivia Rivera. Because he's actually going to Glasgow next year, I'm not incredibly sure on his contract conditions if he's going to be able to stay in Waratah territory or not. Because obviously leaving for Glasgow in Scotland, he's not going to be able to play for the Wallabies the following year. So, you know, it might be a questionable decision choosing Naivia Rivera.
It could be. If he stayed with Fiji, he could still play Test rugby, couldn't he? That's a good point.
Yeah, but I'm questioning the contract conditions. I'm questioning if he's can play for the Wallabies again after the Argentine and South African matches. Just gotta wait and see.
Yeah, no idea what his contract's like at all, but we will see. I guess a World Cup in the Wallabies squad. I guess would you really throw that away if you had the opportunity to play one season in the Wallabies squad and then never again? You'd take that up, wouldn't you?
Yes, but at the same time, you know, if you can consistently get in the Wallaby side.
Well, he could play out his contract at Glasgow and then just come back. Who knows? Who knows what's contracts? He might even bail out Naholo style. Who knows what's going to happen there? Do you have any concerns about fullback? The fact you only got one out-and-out, straight-up fullback in Israel Folau. Do you have... what happens if he goes down in a heap? You're going to biff Mitchell or Adam Ashley Cooper back there?
Well, no, I put Kurtley Beale back there, even though some people might hate me for saying that. I put Kurtley Beale back there. And I'm not really sure who else could play fullback, to be honest.
So if it was a last round of the Rugby Championship, Folau goes down, he's injured for 6 months, he's got a Corey Jane hamstring, World Cup's about to kick off, you'd stick with Kurtley Beale? You wouldn't call anyone else up?
Well, yeah, in that stage, I'd maybe call in James O'Connor.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, as a backup replacement.
Yeah. I think that would make sense.
I find it strange that they only picked up one fullback for the team, so that's a bit weird for me. Lastly, if the World Cup was tomorrow, Rugby World Cup kicked off tomorrow, this is the squad Australia's taking. How do you think they're going to go? Do you think, knowing this team here, you think you have high hopes about how this side's going to go? Yeah,
I've still got high hopes, even though we may have got destroyed over in the November matches last year. I think we're in for maybe a solid rugby championship. Hopefully we can get maybe 2 or 3 wins. I'm sure the All Blacks will beat us at least once. So hopefully we can get over the Springboks and Argentina. We've got a favourable draw as well. So we're obviously got we got Springboks at home at Brisbane, which is basically a colossus for Australian rugby. And then we're over in Argentina, which is always a tough match, but hopefully we can beat, the Argentines. So, I'll be happy up against England and Wales. It's always going to be a questionable decision, but, Wales haven't beaten Australia in, 10 attempts or something. So, interesting. I've got to wait and see.
Finally, before we wrap this one up, one last question. I hope you've got the team in front of you, but controversial as this may be, what's your starting 15? World Cup final tomorrow. You've got to pick from this squad.
Kepu, Slipper, and Moore, front row.
Yep.
Second row, I would go Rob Simmons and Will Skelton. Questionable decision. Flankers, I'd probably go Hooper, Pocock, even though, a lot of people might disagree with that. I'd probably go that. 8, Higginbotham. 9, Phipps. 10, Foley. 12, Tamua. 13, Karandrani. 11, Horn. 14, Cooper. Ashley Cooper. 15, Israel Folau. There's a lot of Waratahs on that, but
there is. There's a lot of controversial decisions going on there.
Yeah,
people are going to love
biased.
that.
Very, very biased. What do you think? You've got to go quickly through as well.
Oh, jeez. I'll probably agree with your front row. Your whole front row, I'd agree. Your whole forward pack, I'd agree with. I'd go Fibs. And for the for the halves, I'll definitely go. I like Leliafano. I'll put him at 10. I'll put Giddo at 12. Kurandrani 13. My wingers would definitely be. I'd go Tamani and Spate, and I'd have Naivaro and Mitchell next up in line because I'd have those two there, and of course Folau fullback. You can't go anywhere else. But I like the big fast wingers. They're going to be punishing. And if you've got those 4 wingers, they're my 4 wingers in the squad. I like Rob Horn's good, but I just Tamani and Spate just yeah.
Where's Adam Ashley Cooper in your books though?
No, he doesn't pass. He's too selfish.
You think?
Yeah.
It's Mr. Consistency.
He's a good player. He breaks tackles, but he's predictable. He's a bit like Nonu of 5 years ago. You know, he's never going to pass it. He's just going to run into you. He needs to. Well, he's never going to adapt his game now, is he? He's built his career around that. But I like Tamani, Spate, Mitchell, and the new man Naivaro are quite good wingers. Yeah. That's me. I like Leliafano as well. I like him at fly half.
All we have to do is just wait for the Rugby Championship, 2 weeks away. Very, very exciting. And, it's exciting, obviously, for the All Blacks as well with the test match against Samoa, even though it's going to be a half-strength side.
That's what you get with success, having 2 teams in the Super Rugby
Quick
final.
question, do you think New Zealand are going to smash Samoa even with their second-tier side?
Samoa's got a pretty good team. The Samoa of olden days, where you'd just be like, yep, 100-0 to the All Blacks, no question. It's not going to be like that. They've got a good side. Most of them have got professional rugby experience. A lot of them play over in the Northern Hemisphere in the Aviva Premiership and the Pro 12, so it's not going to be that bad. The All Blacks will still win, and they should win quite comfortably, but the Samoa side, don't count them out. Don't discount them. I think it'll be a decent match. I'd say it'll be, 40 odd to 20 kind of scoreline. I think Samoa will get some points, but the All Blacks should be too good, surely, in the end of the day. But I think Samoa will definitely have a good year for rugby in there by their standards. What do you reckon?
I think obviously New Zealand are going to win, but I'm going to watch that match with a keen eye because they're in Scotland's pool for the World Cup, and second place in Pool B in the World Cup is completely up for grabs, like really up for grabs. So just need to wait and see. Hopefully Scotland will be able to do it, but just obviously need to wait and see. And I'm just completely making it towards Scotland. Samoa hopefully can have a good match. Yeah,
they've got good players. They've got a good team. Like they just get better, and the more professional players they get, those island nations, the better they're gonna get. They get into that atmosphere of professionalism, and they go to a new level. But that is that Samoa. We'll find out on Wednesday what happens there. Hopefully I'll have a bit of a piece on with the starting 15, because goodness knows there's so many players out with Super Rugby and injuries and all that sort of thing. There's probably going to be a 600-man All Black squad going over to Samoa this weekend for the match next week. But that wraps us up for this. It has been superb. You have anything to add on your Australian squad for this first few test matches?
No, I just can't wait for international rugby. It's going to be all right on our minds, international rugby after the Super Rugby final for, 4 months. And it's going to be really exciting times for rugby, so I can't wait to get into it.
Super, sounds great. Thank you for joining me again for this one.
No problem. Thanks for having me on the channel again.
And thank you everyone for tuning in. If you have, of course, your own opinions, do leave them below. What you think about this Australian squad, aside for all you guys from Australia. I'm sure you've got your own opinions and your own little fan group of sides, of course, for those not fans of the Waratahs, of course. So let us know what you think, and we'll be back again for some more rugby discussions in future. Thank you for tuning in and watching, and we'll see you all next time. Until then, take care.